Hi, Mr. Klein here. Today we're going to be working with percentiles, with the 5-number summary, and with outliers, all using Google Sheets. Let's begin. If you take a look at column A here, we have the weights of a number of individuals measured in kilograms. Remember when you were a kid, they would weigh you, and then they would tell you what your percentile is. You're at the 90th percentile compared to other kids your age, or you're at the 75th. That's always been a big deal for my kids when we go to their annual well child visit. Well, we're going to look at how that's done today. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to put the data in order from least to greatest. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to highlight all of the values that are in column A. And then we're going to sort the range from A to Z so that the largest value is here. And the, least value is right here. And then what we're going to do right here is we're going to create a new column called rank. And your rank is of the values that are in this row, where do you fall? So since the 47 kilogram individual is the smallest, it would be number 1. Person after would be number 2. Now, rather than putting number 2 in, I'm just going to say, take the number in the cell above and add 1 to that. That'll give me 2. If I do it that way, I don't have to type all the numbers in. I can just highlight the values that I need in column B, and then I can control paste. All right. So I'm going to move the rank over here, and I find that sometimes it can get kind of confusing to tell whether you need the rank or the actual weight, especially when there's this range where the numbers will be kind of similar, around in here. And so what I always do is I take this row and I make the font smaller. All right, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to center everything and I'm going to highlight all of those. So there are our ranks. Now, you actually don't use the weights, you use the ranks to put them in order. So here for our percentiles, center that, and let's vertically align it, and I'm going to highlight it like everything else. We want to take each one of the ranks, so number 1, and divide it by the number of values there are total. The number of values in this case is, let's see, 120. Now that 120, the sample size is in, what is that? That's in A21. So I'm going to say, let's take this, divide it by 120. All right, so if you are the person that is 47 kilograms, that's your percentile right there. Copy that, move it all the way on down. Okay. Your last value should always be 1. If it's not, then you made a boo-boo. I'm going to highlight all of those. I don't like the way the numbers look. So if we come up here to the formatting, we can select number, and then we can change it to a percentage. Okay, and those numbers should be easier for us to read. All right, so now that's how we get percentiles. The second thing that we're going to talk about today is how do you get your 5-number summary. So I know that the 5-number summary is made up of the minimum, the quartile 1, median, the quartile 3, and the maximum. Okay, so these are the 5 values that I want to cook up here. Let's talk a couple different ways of going after those values. Option number 1 is if you've got the percentiles, you can just look at them. So for instance, I know that this right here is the 0th, this is the 25th, this is the 50th, the 75th, and the 100th percentile. So we know that our maximum would be at 100, So I know this is going to be the max. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that. And then if I just move on back to, let's see, 86 must be our quartile 3. Now I'm looking for 50. The 50th percentile is 76 kilograms. So 76 kilograms is our median. Looking for 25. The 25th percentile is at 63. So I know that 63 is going to be our Q1. And if we go all the way back to the top here, you're not going to find the 0th percentile. The 0th percentile can't actually ever exist, since a percentile is the number that are at or below some value. And if you're at that value, then at least you would be included in your percentage. So there is no 0th percent, but whichever one is the smallest, we'll call it the 0th percent. So 47 would be our minimum. So I just found the 5 values, and I could list them here. However, I'm now going to show you a different way. Let's suppose that we hadn't put the data in order, and we had never found the percentiles. We could use formulas to find the minimum. So you're going to say the minimum of the range that begins here at B2 and continues until we get to 125 at B121. That's our formula. And you know what I'm going to do? Enter that. See, it gave me the 47. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy that formula. So that'll come in handy. Now for Q1, what you do is you type in quartile. And then you put in the range. But then you also have to tell it which quartile. So you're going to enter a comma and then a 1 for first quartile. For the median, you're going to enter median. And then the range. For the third quartile, you're going to do the same thing that you did for the first quartile, except for this time, after the comma, you're going to enter a 3. And then for the maximum, you're going to enter max, and then your range. All right, so you'll notice that right here, we have the same 5-numbered summary, 47, 63, 76, 86, 125, that we would have gone by saying ba-boom, 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 oh, ba-boom, and ba-boom. Now, let me offer you, come on, play nice with me. There we go. Let me offer you one more option. So we use formulas to get all 5 of these values. There's kind of a cheat you can do where you can say, I know this is quartile 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you can type those numbers in, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then over here, what you can do is you can use the quartile formula. So quartile, paste, and then I want to use the number that is in this space. One thing you have to be careful about here is that you have to lock in the range. The range B to B121 is never going to change, so you got to put your dollar signs in to lock those. And notice that that will automatically give me the minimum. Now, the nice thing about doing it this way is it took a little longer to get the minimum, but now I can just go Control Copy and then move my cursor over those 4 cells and Control V, and it will automatically give me the rest of it. So it doesn't really matter to me which one of these methods you use. I think the second one is a little bit quicker and a little bit cooler, but your choice. Now, the other thing that you need to come up with using this sheet is outliers. So let's talk a little bit about the outlier method. Before you can get the outliers, you're going to need the interquartile range, which is an easy little game to play. You just take the third quartile and you subtract the first quartile, both of which you've already calculated. So our interquartile range for these data is 23 units. I'm going to center that because it's bugging me. All right. And then I want you to make a little space where you make it clear that you're talking about outliers. We're going to need the lower, and we're going to need the upper fence. Highlight that. All right, and then for each of these, I want you to give me what the actual fence value would be. So in the case of these data, that's going to be a weight. And then I want you to give me a list of any outliers that you might have. So the lower fence would look like this. The lower fence would be take the first quartile and subtract from it 1.5 times the value of the interquartile range. So our lower fence would be 23.5 kilograms. If I come over here to our data, I can see that the lightest individual in the sample is 47 kilograms. So that means that we have no one that is going to be in our list. Just give me a couple of empty parentheses like that. For the upper, we're going to enter the third quartile, add on 1.5 multiplied by the interquartile range, and we find that 120.5 is our upper fence. So any weight that's larger than that is going to be in our list of outliers. And I believe if we scroll on down to the bottom, I count that the 115 isn't heavy enough, but the 125 is. So I'm going to mark that as an outlier. And then I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to notate parentheses, 125 is an outlier. If we had another one, you do comma and then give me another one. So that's the game, folks. You should know how to find the percentiles, construct the 5-number summary, and then test for outliers using Google Sheets.